Hi, you guys. Welcome to my channel. My name is Karen Odd, and these are Karen's Oddities. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. Regardless, I do want to ask you to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone that you know, and subscribe to my YouTube channel to view more. In today's video, I wanted to talk about family. Specifically, how we have access, some of us, right, to our parents. We have access sometimes to our grandparents, aunts, uncles, older cousins, just these older family members that have such rich history and information that we can tap into that some of us are not doing. For those of you that are very well tapped in with your family, you've gotten all the information, all the recipes, you know how your grandfather met your grandmother and so forth and so forth. That's awesome. I didn't do that. I have not been doing that. When my grandmother was alive, sure, I had a lot of conversations with her. She told me a lot of the past, how she made it to the United States, how that happened, how she met my grandfather, what it was like as they were working through their relationship challenges. I had a lot of conversations with my grandmother, which I cherish and hold on to dearly because she's no longer with us. However, I never took the time to do that with my mom. I never. And it's like, yes, grandparents have a wealth of knowledge, but our parents do as well. Our aunts and uncles do as well. So I recently started doing that. I recently started just asking my mom, just picking her brain just randomly, you know, about random questions that I had. I've asked her things like, how did you decide what to name me? Was I a planned pregnancy? Was my brother a planned pregnancy? What was it like when you gave birth to me? What was it like when your water broke? What was your first job like? What was it like when you first got a license? I want to know what life was like when she was growing up. I want to know what her experiences were. I want to know this because I know that all of these things shape us eventually into the people that we are. And I know that our parents shape us and we carry traits and characteristics that they have into who we become as adults. So I've been asking my mom some of these questions and I've been learning quite a lot about my mom. I've been learning a lot about my dad. I've been learning a lot about myself. And my parents are divorced. So even more the reason for me to connect and want to understand, right? Understand how their marriage came to turn into a divorce. Why didn't it work out, right? Understand my mom's side of things. Sometimes we don't have access to both sides of the family, so you never get the other side of the story, right? And when you do, I think that there is value in hearing both sides of the story, so then you can make your own discernment and decision on what you think might have caused the failure of the marriage. I also think, like I said, it's an indicator of who we become as people. It's an indicator of some of the issues and trauma that our parents may be struggling with still, that they don't even realize that they're carrying with them every day. There's a lot of information in having some of those conversations. It's just a reminder, if you're not doing that, tap into your family, your older aunts, uncles, your grandparents, people that you know that have known you since you were younger, just to get a better understanding of what were things like when you were a child and you couldn't grasp everything, when you couldn't see everything, when you couldn't understand or comprehend things. I'm also just learning a lot about just my family history, right? There are disputes in my family that I thought I understood why they were happening. I thought I understood how so-and-so died or what happened with him, but I'm learning that that wasn't what happened, right? There's false information out there, and I'm getting the clarity, and it's making more sense to me now, right? I'm able to piece things together, piece the puzzles together. I also want to just take a moment in this video to mention, I know that some of you are probably not connected to your parents anymore for different reasons or by choice, right? And I do want to say this because I feel like it's necessary for me to say this in this video as this message is for somebody. I think that you should make that effort. I think that you should make one last effort if you've made 1,000. I think that you should make one last effort to connect with that member of your family, whether it's an aunt, uncle, cousin, brother, sister, mom, dad, grandparent, someone that you had that falling out with. I do think that you should make that last ditch effort and try to rectify the situation. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it leads to nothing, it leads to nothing. But I do think that there is peace in being the person to make that effort. There is peace in trying to heal that connection and trying to better understand what the issue was, where was the disconnect. I think a lot of the times the disagreements that we have, the root of it is miscommunication. That's a huge root of a lot of the issues that we experience. People are having a rough day. They misunderstood something you said. They misunderstood your tone. They misunderstood your intention. The second reason why I think a lot of us have falling outs and issues is, and they don't get mended together, is because once there is that disconnect, our good friend, ego, E-G-O, enters the chat, enters the conversation, and it gets a hold of one of us. And once ego gets a hold of one of us, it's very unlikely that it's going to let us go, right? So there's always ego interfering into this and keeping that one other person from reaching out, from being open to have a conversation, from being forgiven. And a lot of times that anger, frustration that we're holding on to, that lack of forgiveness, all of these things are not doing us any good, right? They're rummaging inside of us. They're affecting our energy. They're affecting our health, our well-being. It's just not good to carry with us. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. I will share one bit. I did ask my mom, how was I named? By the way, my name is not really Karen. My name is Karen for the purposes of this YouTube channel. But for those of you that know me, you know my real name. I asked my mom, so how'd you guys decide to name me? So then she starts to tell me, she's like, well, your dad and I, we were watching America's Most Wanted. And I just start cracking up because I'm just like, wow. Like, I was expecting this beautiful story about we were in church or there was this angel and her name was whatever. No. They were watching America's Most Wanted, and there was a cartel drug lord from Colombia, and his girlfriend was the name that they chose for me. They said that they were talking about him and they mentioned his girlfriend. They were talking about how she was helping him, and her name was my name that they gave me, the name they decided to give me. And that when they saw the name on the TV and they were talking about it, they just looked at each other and they decided, like, that's a good name that they wanted to give me. So I am named after a Colombian drug lord's girlfriend from the 90s. That's a lovely story. But it's funny, right? It's interesting. Like, it's a bit of history that, I don't know. Like, do you know what your parents, why your parents decided to name you what they did? Do you know where your name stems from? I mean, it could be a family name. For me, I knew it wasn't a family name, so I wanted to understand that. And I'm also just finding a lot of similarities, right? In how my mom grew up and how I've grown up. A lot of similarities in, do you guys hear that? He literally just popped this tennis ball that was new that I got him. He literally just popped it, the puppy. But I'm finding a lot of similarities. For example, my mom had a fear of driving, right? So she got her license in her 20s. So did I. I got my license at 23. I had a fear of driving. And it's something small, but it's really interesting to know that that pattern of history repeated itself, right? There are patterns of history that repeat themselves, and it's not by coincidence. You know, and I can go down a rabbit hole. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole today. But our parents were our parents for a reason. Our siblings are our siblings for a reason. Our friends, everything, every person we meet, every place that we go, everything that we interact with, come in contact with, it's there for a reason. Like, everything is connected. And I know I sound like a super hippie, but it's true. Literally everything is connected. If we had the ability to draw like this huge web of connections, everything is connected at the end of the day. Literally. It's pretty cool to think about. So this is just your reminder to connect with that person in your family, whether it's your mom, your dad, your sibling, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, your grandparent. Take a few moments, just if you can't think of questions ahead of time, that's fine. If they just come to you, just give them a call and say, hey, I wanted to see how you were doing. And by the way, was I a planned pregnancy? Or by the way, do you remember that one time when do you remember when I was younger, I used to like dancing in the rain? Just, have those conversations. It's nice to revisit the past sometimes. It's nice to revisit the past when it's a nice memory, right? Because it helps keep us, I think it's a sense of like rejuvenation, right? We connect to our past, we connect to our childhood, we connect to those that are no longer with us when we have those conversations and when we bring up those people that have passed on. They're helpful and healthy conversations, they can be. So I encourage you to do that, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.